Hi everyone, Shai here. I hope all of you are doing good. Welcome to another new video. We like to think that every flight we catch will go smoothly. As we board, we will eat our little snacks and disembark at our destination without incident. But that doesn't always happen, and some people have some incredible near-death experiences to share. From the famous river landing to Hawaii plane crash, here are some of the greatest emergency landings ever caught on camera. Number 1. The Hudson River Landing. Now, of course, if we're going to talk about the greatest emergency landings ever caught on camera, the Hudson River landing with U.S. Airways Flight 1549 will be at the top of the list. In 2009, shortly after taking off from LaGuardia Airport in New York City bound for Charlotte, North Carolina, an Airbus A320 hit a flock of geese. That was unfortunate for those geese, but even more unfortunate for the pilots and the people aboard the plane. The pilots, Chesley Sullenberger, known as Sully, and Jeffrey Skiles, didn't believe they could avoid an emergency landing, especially as both engines had experienced severe damage, and the plane was severely lacking thrust. The pilots tried to restart the engines but were unsuccessful, and they told air control at LaGuardia Airport that they would be returning to the airport. However, as the plane was already starting to descend into a glide, Sully realized they wouldn't be able to make it. He informed air control that he would be attempting a rare and very risky water landing on the Hudson River. Remarkably, no one died, and there were only a few injuries. The National Transportation Safety Board concluded that the pilot's decision to land on the river was the right one. It was such a well-known event that a movie called Sully was made about it. Number 2. Airbus A320 Lufthansa almost crashes during crosswind approach. Winter storm systems always cause problems for travelers, but you might think most people affected are those in cars. As it turns out, planes can also be severely impacted. Passengers aboard an Airbus A320 Lufthansa headed for Hamburg learned that the hard way as a winter storm system swept across Central Europe in 2008. A Lufthansa jet had to navigate 56-mile-per-hour crosswinds as it approached the Hamburg airport. I'd sure hope you had an experienced pilot that day. As the plane attempted to land, it dramatically skidded across the runway, and the pilot had to abort the landing attempt, take off, and try again. Most people on board were probably terrified of a second attempt, especially since the first had resulted in a wind shear pushing the left wing of the plane toward the ground, causing it to rock violently on approach. According to a passenger on the plane, the passengers were quite shaken by the experience, and some were near tears. However, the passenger also said that the 39-year-old pilot handled the emergency ascent and second landing attempt with skill and calmness. According to a spokesperson for the German Flight Safety Organization, the attempted landing was one of the most dramatic incidents recorded in German domestic aviation history. Number 3. Hawaii plane crash. Many people fear flying in small planes, and honestly, after a plane crash in Hawaii involving a 2002 Cessna Grand Caravan, I would be too. In 2014, the aircraft left Molokai, Hawaii, on its way to Honolulu with 9 passengers on board. When passengers heard a bang, the plane had been climbing at the time, but it was climbing no more. Instead, it was headed straight for the water, and the pilot had to use their incredible skills to navigate the plane into the water right side up to give his passengers the best chance of survival. One passenger had the foresight to film the entire event taking place, so we got to see how the crash played out. Ferdinand Puente started filming while passengers were bracing for impact, and he kept the camera rolling as the fuselage began filling with water. The water rushed in as they opened the door, and it filled up to their ankles. But despite what you see in movies during plane crashes with everyone screaming, those aboard the Cessna remained calm and filed out of the plane into the water in an orderly fashion. They then clung onto plane debris in the wings of the plane until the U.S. Coast Guard rescued them about an hour later. Sadly, even though everyone made it out alive, one passenger died. She was Hawaii's State Health Director, Loretta Fuddy. According to later reports, Loretta was found wearing a faulty infant life vest and had died from an irregular heartbeat triggered by stress. Before moving on to the next point, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you all to my merchandise. You can support my content by getting your favorite products from my store or by simply joining my channel. Your support means a lot to me. Now, let's get back to the video. Number 4. Cessna 172. The next time you hop aboard a Cessna 172, you probably can't help but think about everything that could go wrong, especially since you're soon going to learn about 2 incidents involving this plane. The first involves a student pilot who made a grave error. The accident happened at Buttonville Airport in Toronto in 2020 and involved the Cessna 172M belonging to Canadian Flyers International. It seems like the student had far more confidence than he probably should have in his ability to safely land the plane. In complete control, rather than bringing it to a stop on the runway, he sped out of control and hit a hangar. According to reports, it was the student pilot's first solo flight, and he drifted to the left when he touched down flat. To correct the problem, he tried to apply more power and opt for a go-around landing, but he didn't quite make it and hit the hangar instead. Fortunately, the man was okay, but the plane was a total loss, and the hangar also sustained severe damage. But the situation was much more dire for a Cessna 172 in Miami in 2022. According to the FAA, a single-engine Cessna lost power and landed on the Haulover Inlet Bridge on Route A1A. Upon landing, it also hit a vehicle. 3 people were aboard the plane, and 5 people were injured in the accident. Sadly, 1 person also died, and another had to be transported to a trauma facility. Number 5. JetBlue Flight 292. I think the most terrifying part about flying is knowing that a single nut, bolt, or piece of something small can sometimes be enough to cause a devastating accident. You have to hope that engineers are really on their game when performing service checks. In 2005, a JetBlue flight operating between Burbank and New York was forced to make an emergency landing at Los Angeles International Airport due to the nose gear malfunctioning. The flight took off as scheduled and would be transporting 6 crew members and 140 passengers to New York, a distance of around 2,500 miles. However, within just a few minutes, the flight crew noticed an error message on the monitoring system. It seems that the nose landing gear would not retract, and ground personnel confirmed that it was at a 90-degree angle to the left. That wasn't exactly super great for landing, so the plane couldn't continue to its destination. Instead, the captain decided to make an emergency landing at the Los Angeles International Airport. They chose this airport because it had excellent emergency support services, better field conditions, and a more desirable runway length to ease the load on the landing gear and hopefully reduce the risk of the plane catching fire. The pilot had to zip around in the sky, performing figure eights to burn off some fuel. Eventually, the aircraft touched down without incident. Well, the nose landing gear tires did deflate and tear apart, but that was about it. According to the resultant investigation, it was found that anti-rotation lugs were fractured and separated, and 2 other lugs also contained cracks. Number 6. Airbus A380 lands in storm. When pilots wake up in the morning and see storms in the forecast, they probably let out an audible groan. It must be so frustrating trying to navigate horrendous conditions in the sky when you have so many lives in your hands. But the pilot of an Airbus A380 must have been a master of his craft, because he landed a plane during Storm Eunice in the United Kingdom when so many other planes decided to divert to different airports. A YouTuber by the name of Top Failure spent a full day at the London Gatwick Airport taking video footage of planes trying to land. The weather conditions that day in 2022 were so severe that no aircraft could land for about 40 minutes due to heavy rain and high winds. According to Top Failure, there were dozens of go-arounds, and many flights were cancelled and diverted to other cities. A massive TUI Boeing 787 Dreamliner tried to land twice, only to give up and divert to Manchester Airport. But despite wind gusts as powerful as 122 miles per hour in some places, an Emirates flight on an Airbus A380 waited patiently near Brighton in a holding area for 45 minutes before finally getting clearance to land. While it was definitely a bumpy and dicey ride, the pilot landed it successfully. Number 7. Emergency landing in Poland. Captain Tadeusz Rona was hailed a hero in 2011, and he's definitely deserving of that title. Despite his Boeing 767 with 231 passengers and crew on board not having a functioning landing gear, he managed to land the plane on its belly at the Fryderyk Chopin International Airport in Warsaw without it catching fire and with no loss of life. It's a remarkable feat. Rona doesn't consider himself a hero and believes any pilot would have performed the maneuver in the same way to achieve the same result. However, he admits that he didn't relax as soon as he learned all the passengers were off the plane safely. He also spent plenty of time in the following days thinking about the things he could have done differently. All passengers were aware of the emergency because the plane had to circle in the sky for more than an hour while ground personnel and pilots came up with a solution to their pretty dismal problem. Once the plane landed, all you could see was smoke, and passengers were told to disembark and run into the field as far away from the plane as they could. According to experts, the aircraft had experienced a central hydraulic system failure, preventing the wheels and undercarriage from extending. According to Tadeusz, he had flown the plane 500 times, and that was the first time the undercarriage didn't open. So, that was all for today. I hope you have watched the video up to this timestamp. Make sure to press the like button if it amazed you. Press the subscribe button if you still haven't subscribed to the channel, as it's totally free. You can follow me on all social media platforms. All links are given in the description. You can also watch other cool stuff. The playlist link is also mentioned in the description. I will catch you up soon in the next video. Till then, peace out.